Episode 22 of the Trackside Lounge. Had a week off because one of us went had a bit of a holiday. One of us. And how was it, by the way?
The other got cripplingly sick. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Bit of time away.
Now, I'm going to jump right in. We were talking about heroes before, last episode.
Oh,
you got to have lunch with one of your heroes.
And just to refresh though, my hero was Bruce McLaren.
Mm-hmm. Mine was Dr. Roger Freeth.
Yes. Dr. Roger Freeth, yeah. I think I did get to have dinner with one of my heroes, so I'd say Racing Ray Williams.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, when I was a teenager, he sat with me in the car before my first lemons, before my first race, and he just gave me the works. He just went over pretty much everything there was to know, all the ins and outs, not necessarily of aggressive 10/10ths driving, but certainly of enough to keep it running for 24, which that was the only goal. So. Yeah, no, I think that would be my pick.
And the best thing about that too was he did that for no reward. He didn't want to be seen. We didn't do videos.
No.
He didn't ask for any. Look at me, I'm Ray Williams. It was just like I didn't even know he was doing that. He just next to my look, and there's the two of them sitting in the car pre-event, and they're literally sitting in the car, and he's running them through gear changes. And
well, we happen to be put
cool
in the same
guy.
garage because obviously Lemons with so many drivers, you get sort of like 3 or 4 cars per garage, and yeah, we just happened to be in the garage next to Ray and his brothers. Obviously, they were all racing in the Lemons back then.
Every single one of them was a racer.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about Ray's attitude to racing is if you're in a car and you want to go racing, then, Matt, he'll do whatever he can to help you be the best driver you can. And I've got to say, I can... years ago, it was with the pit stop sponsored Ivory...
the Ivory Beast.
The Ivory Beast.
Yep.
It was a sponsors day. I was working for a radio station, and we went for laps at Pukekohe. And I jumped in, and we were flying around, and everyone gets 3 laps. On the second lap, a Commodore came out, and it was like a full chook Commodore, big wing on the back, a rorty engine. And I said to Ray, so how much faster than this is that Commodore? And he looked at me and he said, it's not faster than this. And that was it, bang. 11 laps later, we came in. But during the first lap after me saying that, we reeled in the Commodore and went hooping down the back straight, to which Ray took both hands off the steering wheel and said, look, 255. I thought, what are you doing? But then he's such a controlled driver. And we just reeled in that Commodore, man. That Ivory Beast was a quick car. Not surprising it held the New Zealand land speed record for a while, but that was one of those cool moments. And then when I got out the car, they go back to giving everyone 3 laps. But he canes it, and these sheets of flame come out the back. God, I love that car. That was something else.
And since then, obviously, he's returned it to pretty much road running spec.
Yeah, but
after its racing days.
Don't be fooled.
No,
road running spec, that is still a monster, that car.
No, but I mean, those that don't know, they'd look at it and go, "Oh, it's a nice, clean white 930."
Ivory. It's
exactly.
Ivory. Not
oh
white.
yes. Sorry. Ivory white.
That was
ivory
the Porsche
white
colour that came out in ivory.
But no. Anyway, I mean, and there's a lot of people in New Zealand motorsport who have good stories and good memories of Racing Ray, and he's still doing wonders for the New Zealand's young, and he's just such an asset to New Zealand motorsport.
And he's a best kept secret too. A lot of people don't realise the prestige, and if you go and check out more about Racing Ray Williams in New Zealand and abroad, and just check out what this guy's done, he has achieved a huge amount. All right. He's got a big head now if he's watching this, and we hope sort of he isn't, because he needs to wear his hats. But let's talk about a different form of motorsport. We're gone from the heroes. Let's talk about IndyCar, because we've been gone for a couple of weeks, and we're back, and we'll make up for lost time. But that IndyCar result they had, it was at Iowa. I mean, God, believe me, that was flying.
Road racing, and there were 2 races, race on Saturday and race on Sunday. And I'll quickly run through them for you. Saturday race, Pato Award in the McLaren-sponsored car was first up. Joseph Newgarden second. Will Power third, Scotty Mack fourth in that one, and Alex Palou was fifth. On the Sunday, when they went racing, Alex Palou won it, followed in by his teammate Scott Dixon. Then Marcus Armstrong came in third.
The Kiwis.
A guy with a cool name, David Malukas, came fourth, and Pato Award, the winner from the day before, came in fifth. Scotty Mack crashed. And it was a weird one, because remember when he was on the oval and he was warming up the tyres, the Indy 500, and off she went?
Yep.
Same thing. He was warming up the car,
Yeah.
and she just slid off into the wall. So,
But you're saying that David Malukas has got a cool name.
I like
you
that.
can't beat willpower. I mean, how can you beat that for a name?
fair,
That is such a cool
Your
name.
parents obviously knew what you were going to do in life, isn't it?
I mean, the only thing missing is they could call him Horse. I mean, everything else was fantastic.
Yeah,
Will
I mean, my
Power.
first name was going to be Big if my surname would have been Richards, because it would have been Big Dick. But we don't.
Mr. Brown.
Call me that anyway. But let's move on. So the standings after IndyCar. This is quite interesting. We all know Alex Palou, great driver. He won one of the races. Pato Award won one of the races, and those guys have been competing very well throughout the IndyCar season. Currently sitting at 1 and 2. Scott Dixon is at 4. But at third place, a guy who on Saturday ran 18th and 26th on Sunday, Kyle Kirkwood, is currently sitting in third place of the IndyCar standing. So he must be a hell of an oval driver.
He had a shocker of a weekend then, in comparison, of course.
In comparison to the other guys. But, I mean, on the road courses, that's where people like Scott Dixon really shine, you know?
Yeah,
really shine.
And McLaughlin too. He normally
Scott
steps
McLaughlin.
right up there.
Yeah, provided he don't smack his car up.
And one big shout out too on that Sunday event though, 2 Kiwis on the podium. Obviously, as Shane would say, second sucks, but you'll take second any day of the week. And Scott Dixon again, record, more records. You know, he's just more and more positions. Not a win in this instance, but another podium for his name. And they said that every year, was it 21 years? I think that every year Dixon's been on the podium through that season.
Since he started.
That's right.
He's been on the podium every single year.
And that was even his rookie year, you know.
Yeah, he's got that perfect record, doesn't he? Yeah. And it's just, he's such a, I mean, he's basically become one of the iconic drivers of IndyCar. The same way, you know, these days, Supercars, you've got Whincup and Lowndes. You know, IndyCar, you've got Dixon. So...
Yeah. Watch Alex Palou and Pato Award are starting to come up there. But honestly, when they've been in the game as long as Scott Dixon have, I hope they eclipse Scott's record, but I bet you they won't.
Yeah.
I bet you they won't.
I was going to say, and I think the longevity is probably the only reason that Dixon would be rated higher at the moment. But yeah, like you say, the longer they're in the game, they're still scoring points, wins, podiums. Fastest lap. Does Indy do a fastest lap, or do they?
Oh, sure.
Oh, they do
I don't really follow
most laps led. All sorts of things.
So they got all the statistics, and again.
Oh, there's also one. I'm not sure about this one, but I think it's how good your hair looks once you take your helmet off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's an award for that one.
Beauty pageant, post-race beauty pageant. Maybe we should start looking into one of those.
Staying in the States and looking at NASCAR, we cannot ignore Shane Van Gisbergen.
Come on.
Oh, mate.
Back on the road tracks again, and a Saturday race for the Xfinity Series. Came in second behind his own teammate in the Xfinity cars. And what I like about that is he thought about really putting the pressure on, and he said I could have bumped him and that sort of thing, but I decided to race him, and he just didn't give me the seconds. Great, and he did a great race, and that was awesome. And then on Sunday, what's the word to describe Shane Van Gisbergen's performance on Sunday, apart from shellacking?
Dominating.
Shellacking.
Yeah.
Just dominating.
Just totally shellacked the field.
Yeah.
No. And Kyle Larson said before the race, he said, if Shane Van Gisbergen gets his ovals up to speed, gets used to the ovals, gets used to racing on the ovals, he will be absolutely unstoppable and one of the greats. He says he'll be one of the greats in NASCAR racing.
Well, even SVG, one of the post-event conferences, they have about 1 billion different media outlets that want to talk to these drivers, and
that includes us. But
of course, absolutely. But he's even saying, look, the whole reason I came here was to win at the road courses. He knows that he was brought on to Trackhouse specifically to win the road courses, but that's not to say that he wants to finish last in the ovals. And he does feel like he's making leaps and bounds, and every weekend that they go to an oval, he's learning. He's picking stuff up, and like you say, once he gets that secret formula, then move over everyone else.
Now, I've got a question to ask you guys, because you know a lot more about the cars than I do. NASCARs, the things on the front where normally headlights, they're just stickers, aren't they?
Believe
and
so.
And the
yeah.
ones on the back where there's normally like brake lights, they're stickers as well.
Just stickers.
So is there a brake light? Because I was watching those guys on the restart when they were honking into corners, and so many guys just punting the car in front of it. If you can't see the brake lights, how the hell would you know?
They have 2 high stops inside the back window.
They've got like a high stop.
Yeah.
But beyond, you can't tell me that it would be too much weight or something to chuck in, even just some little LEDs
Exactly.
or some little, something. I mean, even the supercars, if you look at the Camaro, they've got the daytime running lights within the headlights. And those are enough to sort of pick someone in the rear mirror, and especially if you're dealing with a bit of spray or a bit of, water.
Actually, there might be someone more knowledgeable than us on that front, because I think those I saw these two lights in the back window.
Yep.
I never saw them illuminated, and I'm wondering whether or not it's a rain light. Maybe a rain light.
Yeah. Surely they should have in the GTA series. Do they have brake lights in those? So when you go honking in,
the Trans Ams have brake lights too.
Yeah, the
TA2s.
Yeah. Pretty much everything else does too, and I believe even the trucks. I think even the truck series, they've got. If it's not the high stops like the NASCARs, it's they do have lights, but anyway, it's
makes a lot of sense though.
It's a bit of a weird one. I mean, obviously, if you're barreling into a corner at 250 plus, and you know that there's 300 or 400 yards, you can sort of expect that the guy in front of you is going to throw the anchors on fairly soon. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, we're past the days of brake lights being these big glass and metal and plastic, appliances. You got teeny little LEDs that are, you could illuminate the sun.
Bring them back on the classic Jaguars of the 50s. Oh, they had little glass ones on the back. They used to shatter every time you had an accident. Okay, I have no idea. I was not even born then, to be perfectly honest with you. So I've just seen them in pictures.
Are you sure?
Shut up.
You sure you weren't born?
I'm going to stop you there, all right? I'm going to stop you there before we get carried away with this sort of thing.
It's been a while since he stopped anybody there. So
Shea Van Gisbergen, a brilliant driver in NASCAR. I'm actually enthused to watch his development on the ovals, and I never thought I'd say this, but because roundy racing in an oval, you just think, oh well, but then you realise, one, how fast they're going. Two, the forces involved, like the tyre wear on an oval is completely different to everywhere else.
Yep.
And if you get the stagger wrong, it really compromises your race. So there's a lot of good physics in there. So if you're thinking to yourself, I was never good at maths, try learning about cars, because it's a good, easy way to learn about maths and physics and all sorts of things, and you can actually relate to it because it's a motor car. So that's what I did.
And one thing we're failing to mention, because we've been a bit Shane Van Gisbergen biased, there was other supercar drivers there on the weekend too. I think Jack Perkins was there, Will Brown was there on the Sunday, and I think Will crashed earlier on in the piece.
Did he crash or was he taken out? Because I think he got a bit of biff and barge, but
they really found their feet though, didn't they? They actually put in some good qualities, got some times. You had terrible races, and that's always going to be the thing. These guys they've got to learn to get their elbows out, because in supercars, and I think Shane's proving the point, in supercars we tap you, we get a penalty, and with NASCAR the same.
Rubbing's
you call that exactly. Rubbing's one thing, but a wind off is you'd be in big trouble.
Something completely different on that sort of thing. But moving on, and I guess we have to address the circus again. Formula One.
Oh mate.
I'm going to start out with a conspiracy theory. Can I do that?
Oh,
sure.
Why not?
Okay. Adrian Newey, right, was Red Bull's engineer, developed all their performance Formula One winning cars, driven by Max Verstappen. The way Max's performance is run this year, there's talk of triggering a release clause in his contract, and he's talking to Toto Wolff. In theory, there are other people who are saying that perhaps because Adrian Newey is now at Aston Martin will be throwing the bathwater at Max Verstappen. And now Christian Horner's been released from Red Bull.
He's been sacked.
He's on the market. Sacked, released?
But he's still part of the team till the end of the year, though, isn't he?
He's still employed by Red Bull, but he's just no longer the team principal. So,
he's going to be doing like the old Ricardo jobs then.
I guess so, yeah. Because he had his
Red Bull. I used to be in charge.
Actually, on that note too, you notice that Shane's now wearing Red Bull on the cars. Red Bull's going, hey, this guy's getting plenty of media, and then we'll go for the little one on his overalls too. Hey, let's put it all over the car. Because Red Bull, they're not stupid. They know where the audience is. And it's been so many years since a Red Bull car was at NASCAR. Sorry to go back to NASCAR, but Red Bull themselves are a very angry juggernaut. Now, they do what it takes, And if Christian wasn't doing the job, it's not just the driver after driver after driver.
I don't have a question about the reason why he was let go.
Yeah.
What I'm suggesting is that Aston Martin, with pots of money, might just try and put the dream team back together. because they'll be using a Honda engine, which is what Red Bull have got this year. Next season, they're going to the Ford power units. And the chief of Formula One says V8s are back.
Okay.
They say this every year, though. Oh man, it must have been like 3 or 4 seasons in a row that they've talked about bringing the V10s back, bringing the V8s back, bringing a combo back, which, I mean, I'm not anti doing different options, but I mean, the platform they've got at the moment is just so optimized. I mean, you could bring V10s back to the table, but if the V6 hybrids are quicker, teams are going to stick with it, aren't they? Because they don't care about the noise it makes; they care about the performance.
On the hybrid front, though, you've seen WRC go away from hybrid, too expensive, not saving the whales enough, and all that sort of nonsense. So they've gone back to petrol-powered combustion cars only, no hybrid system. If Formula One goes V8 or V10, and I'd love to see them go V10.
This is the same WRC that's got 3 manufacturer teams, whereas Formula One's getting 11 because we're getting a new one next season.
True story.
So
Audi and Cadillac.
True story.
Well, Audi's taking over Sauber.
Right.
So it's a rebranding, and then Cadillac, which definitely isn't Andretti. So
Right, I saw the winker from here.
yeah. Isn't it interesting though how
I love the way you say it.
isn't it interesting though how Andretti try to get their way into Formula One, they get told to piss off.
No, you
Cadillac
can't.
show up coincidentally afterwards. Cadillac show up and they're allowed in.
I will say, change of ownership at Formula One, and an American-based company that runs Formula One now, so it would make sense to bring Cadillac in. Cadillac, they're still in prototype racing, are they? Prototype racing?
Yep. So actually over the weekend too, slight side note, the Sao Paulo 6 hour, Cadillac won too for the hypercars. So they are doing very well in hyper. I mean, previous
they're taking
years,
out Toyota because Toyota dominated so many years.
The end of the 2010s, all you had was Toyota.
Yeah.
You had Toyota, you had Audi,
Yep.
Porsche, and that was pretty much it. Nowadays, you've got Toyota, you got Porsche, you got Lamborghini, you got Cadillac, you got Alpine, all these other, it is such a great time to be in endurance racing.
I'm going to stop you there. I'm just going to just move a little cursor on there that says Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini. All the same company though, aren't they? I mean, are they sharing technologies and things like that?
No, I don't believe so. I think they are actually quite unique cars because it's, I mean, like you say, the whole hybrid, the electrification of the automobile is pretty in the bin at this point. Let's be real.
I mean, you can have manufacturers, different manufacturers owned by the same parent company. Years ago we had WRC with Peugeot and Citroën, and it was a true story. We had a little bit of an insight to that. I was part of a '98 a team that was a Citroën team in New Zealand, and it was a true story.
Could you say that again? You were part of the team.
Well, we were part of a New Zealand-run Citroën F2 car, but the manager, the boss man from Citroën New Zealand was part on the team as well.
Yep.
It wasn't a factory team per se, but it was a very well-supported team. In '98 was a few years ago. I didn't have grey hairs, and I had more back in those days. Anyway, the whole story was that in France, you'd go into Citroën, and you could do whatever you want to Citroën within reason, and then if you went to the Peugeot factory, you had to take off all your Citroën gear, literally put on your Peugeot gear, look the other way, don't say anything, and then you were okay. But if you went into the Peugeot factory, I'm just using this as an example, with your Citroën gear, it was like you were treated like a spy. It's the same blooming person. So getting back to the Volkswagen, the Audi, the Porsche, Lambo, all that sort of car.
Anyway, I mean, manufacturer involvement in endurance racing at the moment's strong.
Yep.
Obviously, Formula One is also very strong. We're getting another team, which hasn't happened in a fair while.
Yeah.
And again, not to dog WRC. I mean, we did talk about it a few weeks ago about how small the top category is in comparison, but at the moment, it's just do people. Obviously, endurance racing's where things are at the moment. It's almost a golden era, which obviously you don't know if something's a golden era until after it's things were better back then. But at the moment, things are very, very good. So
were things better back then? That's a question.
Everything was better back then.
They were different.
Well, the Goodwood Festival of Speed was on in the weekend.
How cool was that?
And Alain Prost got to drive his McLaren MP4, and one of the young guys went up and
Ollie Behrman.
Oh yeah, had a quick interview with him. He said, "Oh, what are those buttons on the steering wheel?" Alain Prost says, "I don't know. I can't remember.
Can't recall."
One of them might be. Is it one for talking to the pits? He goes, Yeah, it might be. I don't recall them ever talking to me. And the other one possibly might be a fire extinguisher. But that was it.
But maybe.
The car itself, like once he stood up and he stood back, he thought, Jesus, that thing's small. You know, like 1,100 horsepower in something that's not much longer than this desk and weighs less than 500
kilos. Yeah, depending on the fuel load. Yeah.
So the beasts that they have now with their hybrid drivetrains and things like
huge.
that, I reckon if you whacked them in a straight line, the old MP4 would be quite a handful to launch out there. But
and also Nigel Mansell drove his Williams as well.
Yeah, yep. And
Liam
drove a rally car.
Yep. But he also drove
some of the V8 ones as well, the F1 cars.
And had a good time. And we've got to make mention of Greg Murphy. Greg Murphy and
Stephen Richards
turned up in some Bathurst cars, the 427 Holden Monaro C that he raced around Mount Panorama with Peter Brock. He got that there. And, of course, the fantastic Nissan turned up, that like the one we featured, almost an exact replica of that car. And just this morning, Steve Richards and Greg Murphy got the Drivers of the Event award.
Oh, they did?
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
So how cool
That's
is
big.
that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk
And
about, stamp your position in the world of motorsport.
yeah.
So someone turned up with a replica of Lee's and Stu Rogers R32. Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know, did Freddie Gibson sign off on
do
that
something
car?
original. Yeah. Another funny one that I saw from Goodwood too was Mad Mike Woodette. Did you see what he did with a very old, very rare Mercedes prototype?
No, I didn't.
So he got given the keys. So Mad Mike is Mr. Rotary, right?
Yeah.
He'll put a rotary in basically anything. He hasn't put a rotary in his Lamborghini, which I thought was interesting, but that,
that's
every
true.
rule
He's
there's
got
an
one in the
exception.
McLaren, isn't he?
Every
He wrote it in the McLaren, yeah.
So in the 70s, Mercedes experimented with a prototype. It was called the C111.
Yep, C111.
right?
And I'll stop you
it's
there. 1968.
68.
Yep.
Wow.
I thought it was 70.
No, 1970 was when they went to diesel power in that car. Prior to that,
okay.
it was as a rotary engine thing.
Yeah. There's my point. It's rotary. So they gave Mad Mike the keys. And I don't know if
This thing's got to be worth millions.
I don't know if you've seen the video, but so he's sitting in the car and he's talking to hey guys, I'm Mad Mike. They've let me fire up this Mercedes, right? And of course, rotary engine, a single, double rotor.
I think it's a double rotor.
Yeah. So he starts it up, and obviously it's a rotary looking. And of course, that was the era where manufacturers were really starting to play with aerodynamics.
Yep.
And so it's like a wedge shape. It's designed to basically have no air resistance. And he's sitting there, and it's brapping away because it's a rotary. Then he starts revving it. And just before the video cuts out, he gives it a good old hoof, because rotaries love revs, right? That's what you have to do.
Apparently.
And just as because the camera's at the exhaust, he's doing whatever it was, 8.5 revs. He gives it a good hoof. And then just as it cuts out, you can see the Mercedes official guy rushing over to the driver thing. No doubt to tell him, hey, please don't do that, because the apex seals are made out of like glue or whatever.
Turn off the engine.
But it was just like, and everybody's talking about, that's probably the first decent rev that car's had in a while.
Actually, it probably was, but the C111 went on to set speed records for diesel, and it was the first car, I believe, to run constantly at 100 miles an hour for more than 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a diesel version that had the 5-cylinder diesel in there.
5-cylinder.
5-cylinder diesel.
Nice.
It's powered so many taxis throughout the northern Africa. If you're ever on a holiday in North Africa and you stop for a taxi, it is always a Mercedes and it's always a diesel, and they will regularly do, I kid you not, 500,000 miles before anyone does anything.
And the rest, yeah. It's like, have you heard the one about the Mazda RX500?
No.
So that, similar vein to the C111, rotary concept car, that was the 70s.
Yep.
And they had a single rotor that did however much revs, and then they had a double rotor, right? And it was believed that there was 3 different examples made, because it appeared at this motor show and it was orange. It appeared at this motor show, it was green. And then the final appearance, which is the one that is still around today, was silver. And yeah, so it was believed that there were 3 of them. they took the silver one in for a restoration, as they do, because you know they get kept up in tip-top shape.
I can see where this is going.
they peel the paint off, and there's a green layer under it, and there's an orange layer under it. So there's only one.
So there was only one.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
And obviously, same thing. You know, wedge shape, and it was designed to not disturb the air at all. But I mean, that was evocative of the era, wasn't it? You had all these different wedge-shaped cars. After the DeLorean, it was sort of like wedge shape kind of became not really a thing
I feel like this is the Trackside Lounge history lesson going on here at the moment, and there's so much knowledge at this table, just none of it's with me.
The interesting thing is with guys like Mike and myself, we'll remember a wedge car. Like Nathan, you probably don't know about a wedge car that was produced by one of the greatest manufacturers in the world, British Leyland, the Austin Princess that went on to become the Ambassador. It was a terrific wedgy shape, just a piece of junk.
Yeah, Leyland P76.
What
a car.
True.
Actually, I got to say,
what a car.
That was a great car.
I do know about the P76.
Never a great car. There's actually a really good book called The Boot Full of Right Arms, because everyone would give their right arm to do what this guy did in the 70s in a Leyland P76. If you ever have a look digitally or real, A Boot Full of Right Arms, and it's an Australian who took a P76 to England, did the England to whatever it was, Safari Rally and all that sort of carry. It's amazing. So anyway, another conversation. Hey, look, let's change so we've gone to the highs of motorsport. Let's come back to Waiuku Dirt Track Club.
Oh, here we go.
Come on. Over the weekend, they had their third round at the State Forest. Man, they had some cars. It's getting more and more popular, this one. And now at the sort of midway point, they've got two more to come, and the UTVs are really starting to pick up the pace out there. They had some, and again, we don't sort of say who was there, but let's just say there was some rallying people there testing some stuff for the upcoming rallying season.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, there were some nice cars there, and they were like full-on rally cars. And guess who won the King of the Hill? And this, I won't say who, but really cool. And I said Justin Davies won, last time, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in the Falcon. Yeah, he came fourth because these rally guys turned up, and they just stomped it, and he was going really well.
So we're talking like proper, like AP?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not quite AP type cars, but not far away.
Okay.
But yeah, don't want to go into it. But it was really good.
Classic ones turn up?
What's that?
Any classic ones turn up?
There's an old school WRX. There was Escorts, Mark II Escort, really nice one there. David Beaver and a beautiful white one. He had Pinky working on it there, but I'm surprised it was reliable, which is nice. But no, Pinky's a good bugger. Had a good catch up with a whole lot of the drivers and a whole lot of talking, and it was really neat to see some rally legends of the past there as well. And I won't say who they were, but they were spectating. And the good thing about these is that these guys can turn up and spectate, and just walk in for free, but obviously, within some of the spectate areas, so they really cater to them. But fantastic race meet, 2 weeks time till the next one, not this weekend, the following weekend is the next one, and that's the penultimate, and then of course the end of the season after that. They're big prize giving, big prizes for that. They actually run on the loss. They just run on the loss to put it on for the people that turn up and run. They don't make any money out of it, but they don't care about that because, they do it right through the summer season, and it's
about getting out there and having fun.
It really is.
It's the variety too. It's the winter is your rally series, and the summer is obviously the dirt track. So the fact that they're in a position to put on both, I mean, how good is that? And that's a little trackside top tip, is come along and watch the Waiuku rally, because you never know who might be there.
Yeah, the rally sprint is a 3.5, 4 kilometre track. Normally they can go as big as 13 Ks in the roads that they've given, but they're normally 3 or 4 Ks. No big sponsors, and if you do want to sponsor them and support them for the next one and the one after, they'll take a few dollars, not a huge amount. And again, it's not about making money, it's about providing the motorsport service. So check out the Waiuku Dirt Track Club. Hey, just you were talking before about rotaries, and I don't know if we haven't actually discussed this beforehand, but I saw on the computer the other day that there's a sports car there with a revolutionary 3.3 litre 5 rotor car that's just been developed. It sounds like a blooming V10. It's got 5 rotors in it, and I can't tell you much more than that, so I haven't been well prepped. But the thing I saw, it had 106 mil turbo in this thing, a huge, like it's a truck turbo powering up these 5 blooming rotors.
He says ludicrously big rotor. I immediately think of Mucka Motorsport, but I know he's got a 6 rotor in that thing.
Yeah,
Lord. Well, it's the thing sounds like a screaming V10. I just thought that was a nice little sideline. So I'll hunt out the video
and pick up on a subject that we poo-pooed last time. Formula E.
Oh Lord.
Okay.
Okay, Oliver Rowland has secured the champs. So honestly, there's no real reason to go racing in London next month. Oliver Reed has done it. The good highlights, though, Mitch Evans got pole position in Berlin. Nick Cassidy won a race. And at the end of the season, so far, there is one more round to come in London, but who cares? Nick Cassidy is 5th, and Mitch Evans is 12th in the series, both of them driving for Jaguar. And both of them have done really, really well in this because they're great drivers. And that's what I will say about Formula E. It's allowing a couple of our drivers to really shine, and hopefully they'll be able to move out of the electric.
I just hate Formula E for so many reasons, but just really quickly, did you, and I know we're going off topic, we've had a lot of off topics today, sorry about that, but look, NASCAR, did you see the electric cars going around the track?
Yeah.
I actually didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll leave that at that.
Good. Sounds like I didn't miss much.
Giant RC cars is what they sound like.
Yeah, that was really useful. Hooncorp, which is our little puppy, and we've got a bit of an invite there for you, young fella. On the 10th of August, we've got a Autocana out at the Mary drift track there, and there's a car there.
Is there?
That's going to be at the event, and there's a seat if you want to have a drive.
Really?
We've got lots of spaces still left. We've got about 12. I think we've got 12 entries at the moment. We need another 20 odd, and it's $99 to have a drive on the 10th of August.
Yep.
And after a lot of work, a huge amount of work, we've managed to secure a test day at Hampton Downs on the 10th of September, which is a Wednesday.
There's been a lot of arranging behind the scenes. That has been
lots of phone calls.
Probably about a year's worth of effort, and we've finally got it. So
hopefully we can make it work. We need a lot of drivers. We need 15 drivers from 4 classes. We've got slow road cars, fast road cars, slow race cars, fast race cars.
When you say slow road cars, how slow is slow?
We've come back with they've been called 125 around Hampton as a slow time, up to a 125. Anything faster up to a sort of a 20ish is a fast road car. It's not there for.
So 214 is like right out.
214 is fine if you're, providing you're not holding anybody up too
It's
much.
as fast as I can pedal in that car.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
The chain gets a bit slack after a while.
So we're trying to do that as best as we possibly can. Costs are getting really up there for those sorts of motorsports. The Autocana, it's stayed at $99 for the entry. Again, trying to get people on the track. There's a seat there for you. And if September the 10th works out and we get enough support and everything to run the event, I'm sure we can find something there for you to have a drive in as well. Or if there's a Skyline we know about that might be, I'm just saying.
Actually,
passenger seat ride for that one. So we get hold of Hooncorp. How? Hooncorp.co.nz?
Facebook. Facebook's the big one. We are working on a website. It's not there yet.
Okay, so if you've got a car, you want to get out on the track, you want to do it safely, but still tear yourself a new one, do it with Hooncorp because it's just better.
I go too much speed and you need a $400, $500, $600 ticket for the track day at Hampton. It's $295 to drive, and a pit is available. They are expensive, and it's a half pit. You have to pay quite a bit of money for the half pit, which 2 people can share. But that gives us a call. And we've also got a text number. Hopefully, Nath, you can chuck it up there at some stage. The text number, don't ring it, doesn't work as a phone, but text it. So either get in touch with us on Facebook or send a text. It's nice and simple. So that's a bit of a plug for those days that are coming up, and we really want to put as many of those on as we can, just to break even, like Waiuku's mentality. Not about making money, it's about having people come and do it on the track, don't do it on the road. And the most important thing is, there's no speed limit at either of those events. Talking of no speed limit, Taupo in the weekend Mega had their second round of pro.
Yeah, they did. And again, bucketed down with rain. Beautiful. So the first round was basically underwater. The second one wasn't far off it. I actually felt kind of bad for some of them because they it started off wet. All right, dried up, then it rained again. Like we got probably 95% of the way there as far as the track being a dry track, right? Dry line, and there was just a few sort of little standing puddles, just about ready to call it a dry.
Standing puddles.
Yeah. And then it rained again and just absolutely saturated the track, and then it dried again. It was just this constant on, off. And I actually had a chat to some of the guys at Dub Dub. And they started the race on wets. So like proper bona fide racing wet tyres, right? Burnt them up because it dried out.
Wow.
And they burnt them, so they put their dries on, and then it started to rain again. So they had to go and get themselves.
Ice skating.
They had to go and get a whole other set of wets to chuck on to, and it was just such ever-changing conditions. But Yeah, no, look, great days of racing. We've got the results there for the 6 hour, which obviously we could talk about the 3 hour, but the 6 hour is just longer. It's better. We don't really.
Plus, the weather changed all the way through the 6 hours.
We don't do things by halves.
Good results though there for the Superclass here. WW, like you say, did take them out. JG Civil Racing in the GT class, and of course the Assassins in the sport class. I mean, how often do we see the Assassins in that Mazda 3? I mean, they just keep on doing it, don't they?
The only thing about the 3 hour, is I don't think the Assassins won the 3 hour.
Oh, well.
I think someone actually did beat them in the 3, but the 6 hour, yeah, obviously they took that one.
I believe in the Assassins, there was just 2 of them driving, a father and son.
Usually.
Usually.
No,
I think old mate Mal's still there sometimes.
Yep.
He was still, because he's they've actually been focusing on the Pro Series this year.
Yeah.
So they're not doing the Lemons racing. They wanted to really push hard on the Pro Series, which, I can respect that.
And the good thing too was Roxanne finished in the HQ, and Chits in the Dick Johnson Falcon, or the 6-cylinder turbo. And they had a really, really good time. Had a little issue with the Falcon with the rear brakes, and I think Roxanne was mostly trouble-free.
Roxanne, they only had third gear.
Oh, that's right, a gear issue.
Yeah, they had a gearbox problem. I was talking to Brett and I said, "Why are you guys losing everything on the straights?" He said, "Well, we've only got the third gear." So
the good news about that, I mean, that's right in the middle of the stack, right?
Well, that's where you want to be, right?
So,
if
so
you're going to lose a
use the
gear,
torque of the beast to get it up to speed, and then you just slip it into neutral when it wants to change up.
and I tell you what, they were still having a bit of sideways antics. Some of those sweepers and bits and pieces, because they were running the traditional supercars layout.
Yeah.
So none of the funky kinks or chicanes or stuff that you can throw at the Taupo to mix things up. It was the supercars layout. I still wish we could do a Taupo race that was the other way. Because I've raced Taupo in the opposite direction, and it is.
Well, you did a race day. He did a race day where they did both on the same day.
I was going to say, deliberately, you were deliberately. What's it like?
Oh, it's actually faster. Like I think we did, because it was a 8-hour race. It was just run by the Taupo Car Club.
It's an 8-hour race. Took 41 minutes. That's how much faster.
Well, the crazy thing, right, is that you've got corners. So going Taupo the regular way, right? You've got corners that are fast approach, slow exit. Well, now they're slow in, fast out. It's everything's flipped. And it's just like literally, I mean, it's obviously there's a fair bit of effort required to, change lights around and, turn around. But God, I wish they'd do that more often, because that was awesome. And that
was in the Muzz and the team with
that was
Sing On Racing
B&D
boys.
Motorsport.
Yeah.
They invited me out because I'd just done the Sanyong drive at Pookie.
That's right.
Back in 21.
A few years ago now.
We're all feeling old now.
So there you go, good old Taupo. In 3 weeks, I think, or two and a half weeks now till the next pro round at back at Hampton Downs in the short track.
Yep.
And then the last one, that's the 9th of August, and then the 30th of August is the last one, which is the big track. That's the international track. And not many people get a chance to race on that, but I think to do that one, you've got to have done some of the other races. So you've only got the 9th of August to get your bum on the seat if you want to do the international track on the 30th. That's not a bad idea.
I'll see about that.
All right, so get yourself sorted, and don't forget, if you want to get involved with the Hooncorp race day, that's in September, and in August it's the Jim, what's it?
Autocana.
It's just like it's a real crazy day. You can have a whole hell of a lot of fun with your car. So get in touch via the Facebook page, because that's real simple, and we'll catch you back next time. Next time on the tracks.
Next time.
Next time.
I quit.